Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Pimlico Racecourse here on Saturday. It is the 17th of May, 2025. It's Preakness Day from Pimlico, and I'm going to look at the Preakness Stakes and all the other stakes races on the program. But before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on X at Horse Racing Kid 5 for more selections for race courses around the world. I usually say that around the world, but for the next few weeks, it's going to be my final video for quite a few months. I'm moving in the next week or so, and it's going to be some time getting everything together. So I'm going to go a little, under the radar for the next few weeks, but I'll be back. What's that song from Frankie Valli? Let's hang on there. No good in our goodbyes, but let's hang on. I'll be back. But let's go out with a bang here with Preakness Day from Pimlico. We're going to look at all the stakes races here. What are those races? Races 4, 6, and then races 4, and then 6 through 13, which is the Preakness Stakes. And this is also going to be the final Preakness at the old Pimlico. Next year, the Preakness will be held at Laurel. So let's go out with a bang. Let's get to the fourth race from Pimlico now, which is the Maryland Sprint Stakes. It's a grade 3 event going for a purse of $150,000, race for 3-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 7 horses going 1,200 meters or 6 furlongs in the Maryland Sprint. A race best be remembered by an infamous race in 1999, this one, with a fan running on the course and interfering with Artax. So, let's go watch the video on YouTube, though. And, when you've had a little bit too much to drink, it's not good. But Artax, that redemption at the end of the year, he won the Breeders' Cup Sprint quite impressively at Gulfstream and had quite a few track records, if I'm not mistaken. I think he had the track record at Gulfstream, at Belmont, maybe even Aqueduct. It was something crazy. But my top selection in the Maryland Sprint, I'm going to go with the 6-horse Booth. I'm going to go 6-2-5-7 in the superfecta. 6257 Super, top selection 6-horse Booth. This 4-year-old colt by Matoli. Steve Asmussen trains. Eric Asmussen gets to mount. They ran the horse most recently at Oakmont on the 12th of April, 6 furlongs in the Count Fleet Sprint handicap, and he won by 3/4 in length. He broke on top like a rocket, and he rocketed it all the way to the winner's circle from the rail. He just took off clear. That was a very good run. 97 Beyer wasn't as impressive on the Beyer side of his previous race, but it was still a good run. Coming here to Pimlico, Steve Asmussen has great numbers shipping into Pimlico. I think this horse could find the trip to win here today. He ran 2 back in the Whitmore at Oaklawn, 6 furlongs, 15th of March, and winning by 2 1/4 lengths. Again on the front end, he basically won quite easily, quickened up nicely, 109-3 with a 107 Beyer. That was a career best race for him that day. And then the Commodore at Oaklawn over the 6th in late February, he won by 4 1/4 lengths that day, and he just found it to the front end. He broke, well, quickened up nicely, and he just did all his running really, really good. When he gets to the front end, he's basically almost uncatchable. Coming here today, very speed favoring horse, drawn very well. I think it's 7-5. He's a very likely winner. So let's look at the local horse here, the 2-horse Prince of Jericho for Simon Russell and Brittany Russell. Ran most recently in the General George at Laurel with 7 back in February, where he had a decent third place finish. I just don't think he wanted to stay the 6, but I think, or the 7. I think cutting back to 6 today, back to Pimlico, I think he can find a trip to win. He ran this one last year on the very muddy going, where he got some, he gained some ground late, came back to run a very good place in the Apocus run at Delaware back in July, and then ran the Francis Dash at the end of July at Laurel, where he just had a bit of a flattening move. But his races, in the fire plug could definitely win here. He's running races fast enough that could win here. I'm gonna give him a shot here at 6-1 in a pick 4 that begins with this race. But to recount my selection for the 4th from Pimlico now, it's the Maryland Sprint. Gonna go with the 6-horse Booth. Give kudos to the 2-horse Prince of Jericho. 6-2-5-7 Super. 6-2 in the multi race. Let's head over to race number 6 now from Pimlico. 6th event from Old Hilltop. It is the Skipat Stakes. It's going for a purse of $125,000, race for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 7 horses going 1,200 meters or 6 furlongs in the Skipat. I'm going to go with the 7-horse here. Striker has dial. I'm going to go 7-3-5-4 in the superfecta. 7-3-5-4 super. Top selection, 7-horse. Striker has dial. This 4-year-old filly by Dialed In. Horatio de Paz trains. Kendra Carmouche comes in from New York to ride this horse. They ran most recently in an obstacle 6-2 at Aqueduct, 6 furlongs on the 22nd of March, and it was a success for this horse, breaking on top, went by 1 1/4 lengths, a bit of a wide trip, but that's what you wanted to be that day at Aqueduct. He went home clear, making his Pimlico debut, back to stakes quality horse for the first time in a couple minutes. I think he could find a trip to win here today. Because races in New York, okay, against a little sled, not tough competition over the winter haven't been half bad. I think, leveling up to against these horses here today, he can find a trip. He ran two back and up 45 at Aqueduct, six furlongs, 25th of January, where he won by 3 3/4 lengths, and he sat back early. We let horses in front of him go. When Kendrick said go with him, he took off clear, a 97 career best buyer. That was a very good run for a late January race at Aqueduct. And then mid-December at Aqueduct, seven furlongs in the allowance race for 92. Finished second by half length. He stalked, he got the lead, and then he just didn't stay that final furlong. I just do think the trip was just a little bit too long for him. He has run against stakes competition. He ran in last year's Wilton over the Wilson Mile at Saratoga back last July. We had a decent second place finish by length, and he looked like a winner at the top of the lane. But then the mile just got to him. He completely crumbled. Misjustified caught this horse. What can you do? He just wasn't a mile horse. He actually placed over the Wilson Mile in a allowance race at the Saratoga Belmont Stakes meeting last June. He placed behind a decent horse, Ways and Means, who took off clear with a quite a good buyer that day and went on to have a great season. This horse again just couldn't stay the mile trip. I think back to a 6 furlong trip where this horse wants to go, get out of the pace or sit a little bit behind. I think a versatile type in the spot is ideal. 5-2, I think this horse can win. I think the three horse one Magic Filly for Flavian and Phil D'Amato and also has been on the bench since opening day at Santa Anita over the 7 in the La Brea Stakes, where she finished 6 by 8 1/4 lengths that day, and she was just wide and just not catching Copion, who went on to have a great run next start out in the Derby City Distaff. This horse just never really got into it. I think coming here, blinkers off the bench, training well at Church. I like that she's been in the Midwest, coming to the East Coast here today, so she doesn't have to travel from coast to coast. I think coming here today, she could find a trip to win. It's also not the world's toughest horses. I also think she's another horse that really benefits cutting back the 6. She had a great, fall campaign other than the last two races. British Cup, she just didn't show up that day, but she had a very nice win in the Chillingsworth, a very nice lounge win in September at Del Mar. And Burke remained very gamely at Del Mar in August. Is training well in the Midwest, coming here at 9 to 5, drawn well. I'll give her a shot in a pick 4 that begins with this race. But to recap my selection for the 6 now from Pimlico, it is the Skipat. Going to take the 7 horse Striker Has Dial. Give kudos to the 3 horse one Magic Filly. 7-3-5-4 Super. 7-3 in the multi race. So let's get to race number 7. Seventh race from Pimlico, it is the Gallorette Stakes. It's a grade 3 event going for a $150,000 purse race for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upwards. A field of 9 horses going 1,700 meters or mile 16th here in the Gallorette. I'm going to go with the number 6 horse, Ustry, as a top selection. I'm going to go 6-9-8-2 in the superfecta. 6-9-8-2 super. Top selection, 6 horse, Ustry. This 4-year Felipe Mendelssohn. Brendan Walsh trains. Ira Attitudes Jr. gets the mount. They ran the horse most recently on the 22nd of March at Turfway, mile 16th in the Latonia Stakes, and he finished 3rd by 4 lengths that day. And he just stalked and was flat. Never quickened up, never weakened out of it either. Just kind of stayed in the same place all the way around the racetrack. I think coming here to turf where this horse has been Byron over have been a little bit better. She's just a little bit of, hopefully, a little bit of a quicker pace. I think this horse could be in a more better real spot than she was last time out in Latonia. She ran 2 back in the Winter Arena at Turfway Mile on the 1st of March, where she finished 2nd by length that day and saw, again, pedestrian infraction. She stalked all the way around the racecourse. I thought she needed more of a turn of foot late. Quality control just caught just ran a better race in her, but she got around the race course well. It was an improvement off the Endeavor, the race prior to Tampa over the mile 16th, where she finished 7 by 6 1/4 lengths that day. Some tough competition. She was just wide, and again, just never really got into the run. I do like the win at the Fairgrounds back in November. But then her races as a 2-year-old weren't bad at all. Coming here, trading well Turfway at 8-1. She'll probably see some pace to close up into. I think she could win. I think the 9 horse here, Way to Be Merry for Robert Trass and Junior Alvarado could win also. Hasn't been seen since late March. That came at Fairgrounds, mile 16th in the Tom Benson Memorial, with the horse won by 1 3/4 lengths. It came from mid-pack, really circling the field, going away within an 86 buyer. That was not a career best, but has recently a very good run where she's been up and up. She ran the Alstall Memorial prior to that at the Fairgrounds of the mile 16th, where she finished 3rd by 1 1/4 lengths that day, where she was with them early on, seeing some good fractions, just kind of yielded late, but she ran her heart out. They tried her on the dirt prior to that in the off-turf Pagel Hop, where she had a decent place, but her turf numbers haven't been half bad. Coming here, she has some forwardly pop if she wants to use her. She come from a little bit behind. At 3-1, I would use her on the ticket, also in the pick 4. And I also think the 8 horse here, Sparkler Blue, for Graham and Jorge Ruiz, could win also. Most recent victor came in the Mid-Atlantic region in the Big Dreyfus at Laurel with Monleith back in July. Winning by half a length, a little bit wide and a little bit lucky and late, but she still came home clear. Then they had a bit of a very tough competition after that. She ran the ladies' turf mile at Kentucky Downs after that, where she finished fourth by 6 lengths, where she gained a little bit that day, but I thought she won more. And then they took her to two tough competitions in Dan Smartley at Woodbine over the mile 16th in October, where she finished 11th that day. She was very, very wide, and she just wasn't comfortable that day. Came back to run in the Hillsborough, which could be a grade one race. She just never really got into it. Also, a horrible trip, but came back to run the Dahlia at Laurel about a month ago, where she had a decent place that day. Coming here to Pimlico for the first time, again, Grand Motion, great numbers locally. At 5-1 with some class relief, I think she could win. Watch out for her here today. To recap my selection now for the 7th from Pimlico, it is the Gallorette. Going to take the 6 horse Osterie. Give kudos to the 9 horse Way to Be Merry and the 8 horse Sparkler Blue. 6982 Super. 698 in the pick four. Let's head over to race number 8 now from Pimlico, which is the Chick Lang Stakes. It's going for a purse of $150,000 race for 3-year-olds here. We have a field of 11 horses going 1,200 meters or 6 furlongs in the Chick Lang. I'm going to go with the 8 horse 1-900 as a top selection. We're going to go 8-10-7-6 in the superfecta. 8-10-7-6 super. Top selection 8 horse 1-900. The 3-year-old colt by Dialed In. Tom Worley trains. Flavian Pratt gets the mount. Ran the horse most recently, late March at Aqueduct, 6 furlongs in the main special weight, winning by 7 lengths on the front and all throughout in a hand ride. This horse could have probably won around another 5 times. That was impressive. 30 cents to the dollar. Everybody and her mother knew she was going to win. Coming here first time stakes quality horse on a speed favoring track. Don't mind the wide poster going 6 here at Laurel. I think she could find a trip to win. She's also training incredibly well at Belmont, the training track. Half mile drill most recently last week in 47-1. The second best workout of 179 and a half mile and 47 flat the week prior, the second best workout of 79. So I think she has some speed here. She ran two back from the rail in the main special weight at Aqueduct going 6.5 in February, where she finished second by 7 lengths that day. Colloquial, a decent horse, next start winner, really took off clear. This horse was second best behind him that day. Colloquial, I believe, ran a triple-digit buyer that day. This horse just sat the pace. Colloquial caught him, but this horse ran his heart out behind a decent horse. Then really ran a great race after that. So has some decent form under his belt since then. And then on debut, ran January and Aqueduct going 6 in the main special weight, finishing third by a head. He didn't get out of the gate so clearly, had to check a few times, was wide. For him to get third after all said and done, where he got caught at the wire, was pretty impressive that day. I thought he showed potential after all those mishaps. He's been improving with every single race, coming here at 7-2, getting Flavian up. I think this horse can win. I think the 10 horse Touchy for Joel and Wesley Ward can win also, getting blinkers on, which should, really concentrate this horse. He ran most recently in the Lafayette, where he finished third by 4 1/4 lengths. Colloquial was the winner that day. Really freaked that day. This horse was just wide. He needs some more ground, but he got around the race course well. They tried him routing prior to that in the Sunland Park Derby over the mile 16th at Sunland back in February, where he finished third by 9 lengths. Getaway Card and Caldera were two of the best horses that day who definitely got the trip. A lot of the horses in that race that just did not get the two-turn trip. This horse didn't get it. He was best of the rest. He just wasn't staying it. And then, very interesting that Joel went to Turfway Park in early January to ride this horse in the Turfway preview, where he had a decent second place finish by 1.5 lengths, where he just got out kicked by the winner that day, but he closed up well. Broke his maiden in October at Keeneland quite nicely. I think cutting back in trip, training well at Keeneland. At 8-1, I think he's another horse. He has a logical chance. I would definitely use him on the ticket here today. And he 7-horse Faster Gator for Arnaldo Bocachica and Anthony Ferrario. A local horse here. I like his place behind Moplex in the Bayshore at Aqueduct a few weeks ago. And then his win at Laurel, his 2 races at Laurel weren't half bad. It might be a little bit inexperienced. At Barn might be just a tad low, but, it wouldn't surprise me at 620 if he gets a piece of it. I'll use him on the pick four to possibly upset it. But to recap my selection now for the 8th from Pimlico, it is Chick Lang. We're going to go take the 8 horse 1-900. Give kudos to the 10 horse Touchy and the 7 horse here, Faster Gator. 8-10-7-6 Super, 8-10-7 in the multi-race. Let's head over to race number 9 from Old Hilltop. Ninth race from Pimlico, it is the Jim Mckay Turf Sprint. It's going for a purse of $125,000, race for 3-year-olds and upwards here. We have a field of 9 horses going 1,000 meters or 5 furlongs here in the Turf Sprint. I'm going to go with the 2 horse No Nay Hudson as a top selection. 2-8-6-4 for me in the superfecta. 2-8-6-4 super, top selection 2 horse No Nay Hudson. 5-year-old gelding by No Nay Never. Wesley Ward trains. Junior Alvarado gets the mount. They ran the horse in a lounge race at Keeneland, 5.5 on the 18th of April. and he won by a half a length that day. He had a dream trip throughout. He stalked all the way from the inside. He quickened up nicely. He got the job done going away. 93 Beyer wasn't the best of his life. First off the bench, I thought it was a good race. Coming here to Pimlico for the first time, I think going 5 furlongs where he doesn't need the lead, you see a strong pace in front of him. I think he could find the trip to win. He ran the Colonel Power to Fairgrounds 5.5 back in February, where he finished fourth by 1.5 lengths that day, and he was with them early on, setting some good fractions on the front end. He just yielded off of them late. Just went a little bit too quick. I would like to see him a little bit farther behind today than he was. Just a little bit too close to the pace in the Colonel Power two back. It just wasn't his day to win. And then he ran terrifically, I thought, in 25th of October at Keelan, 5.5 in the allowance race, finished second by 2.25 lengths. He had a bit of a wide trip that day, but he really closed up well behind the winner. Was actually running back in this one today. Not a bad race. He had a very troubled trip in the Woodford and fall at Keelan, going 5.5, where he finished 10th by 4.25 lengths. He had to check in the lane when he was all out momentum late. What can you do? He just couldn't get that clear chip. I like him back to 5 here today. He's training well coming to this one. I'm going to give him a shot on the ticket. I think the 8 horse Mattingly for Joe Orsino and Paco Cohen also. He basically won from a wide poster, breaking on top at Goldstream, going 5 furlongs about 3 weeks ago, and that off 6-2. Went by 3.25 lengths. He broke on top and he quickened up clearly. That was a very good run. 91 Beyer. That was career best. They tried him on the on the dirt prior to that at Tampa, going 6 furlongs in the Florida Stallions sprint stakes where he finished 7 by 11.25 lengths that day, and he didn't get out of the gate so clearly, and he just didn't show that forwardly momentum. When he gets on the front end on these turf sprints, he's hard to catch. I think down in class here today, back to 5, getting Paco up, who's a very good speed rider at 8-1. It wouldn't surprise me if he gets the job done here today, and even the 6 horse Coppola for Dale Romans and Umberto Rispoli. He had a victor really nicely in the Jana Stakes at Gulfstream back in December. Came back to win the Gulfstream Park turf sprint from a very wide post right after that. His 2 races, a few weeks ago in the Twin Spires turf sprint, he just, kind of yielded late on the front end on a very boggy course. Turf course gonna have some moisture in it, but it's gonna be a little bit quicker than it was at Churchill a few weeks ago. I would give him a shot here on the ticket with the quick turnaround. And he ran this race a couple of years ago where a decent place, so watch out for him here today. But to recap my selection of the ninth from Pimlico, now it's the Jim Mckay turf sprint. We're gonna go take the 2 horse No Nate Hudson, give kudos to the 8 horse Mattingly and the 6 horse Coppola, 2864 Super, 286 in the multi race. The 10th event now from Pimlico, it is the Sir Barton Stakes. It's going for a purse of $100,000 race for 3-year-olds here. Field of 9 horses going 1,700 meters or a mile 16th here in the Sir Barton. I'm going to go with the number 7 horse here, him. I'm going to go 7169 in the superfecta. 7169 super. Top selection 7 horse, him. This 3-year-old colt by Mackenzie. Ron Moquette trains this one. Luis Saez gets the mount. He ran the horse most recently on the 19th of April at Oaklawn, a mile and 8th in the Bathhouse Row Stakes, where he finished fourth by 2 lengths that day. And he sat on the front end. He set very pedestrian fractions, but then he just, kind of yielded. Instant replay caught this horse. He didn't go down without a fight. He showed potential. I think coming here to a lesser quality race, back to a mile 16th, where he'll be forwardly paced, I think he can find the trip to win. He ran 2 back on the 14th of March at Oaklawn, a mile 16th in optional 200 claimer, where he finished second by 2.25 lengths. He just couldn't catch the winner late that day. He just kind of stalked all the way around the race course. The winner, Passion Will, just had the jump on him. He got around the race course. Well, not a bad race in the feet. And then the 8th of February on debut at Oaklawn. 6 furlongs in a main special weight. Older horses also winning by 4 lengths, coming from mid pack, a little bit wide, and he was a little bit lugging in, a little, kind of antics for a first time outer. But he got around the race course well to win away. He's definitely been improving with the Beyer side, coming back to a mile 16th, a little lesser quality horses on a speed favoring course, training well. 4-1, let's use him on the ticket. I think the 1 horse, Crudo for Todd and Johnny can win also. They ran the horse most recently, 19th of April, Keelan, about 7 furlongs in the main special weight, winning by 7.5 lengths, basically on the front end all throughout. He quickened up nicely, 82 Beyer. I thought that was a very good outing. Coming here to 2 turns, sprint to route, 22% for Todd Pletcher, not bad at all. I think this horse is sitting on a good race here today. Also, next logical step. This is a very good stakes race that that they could find for this horse. He ran on debut 8th of February, Gulfstream, 6 furlongs in main special weight, where he finished fourth by 7.5 lengths that day. And he didn't get out of the gate so clearly. He got rushed to the front end, and he had the lead in the lane, but then he just kind of crumbled. Just saw a tired horse. Also, off of a trip, he probably wasn't really appreciative to. I do think he's going to be a better, routing kind of horse. Mile 16th, mile 8th. Coming here to mile 16th today, training well at Saratoga on the Oklahoma track, 47-4 for that workout most recently. I think he's another horse you want to use on the ticket, and even the six horse Invictus for Flavian and Brad Cox. He went quite impressively from mid pack at Keeneland going on the 8th of February, 8th of April, going 7/8. He's another horse around two turns shouldn't be a problem. Brad Cox, great numbers. Went to routes 37%. So coming here, first time winners also. I'm going to give him a shot here off the bench. But the beginning of the pick four, I think you want to go a little deep in this one. But to recap my selection for the 10th from Pimlico, it is the Sir Barton. Going to go with the 7 horse Him. Give kudos to the 1 horse Crudo and the 6 horse Invictus. 7169 Super, 716 in the multi race. Let's head over to race number 11. The 11th race from Pimlico, it is the James W. Murphy Stakes. It's going for a purse of $100,000. Race for 3-year-olds here. We have a field of 10 horses going 1,600 meters or a mile on the turf course. Gonna go take the number 7 horse here, Reagan's Wit. I'm gonna go 7586 in the superfecta. 7586 super. Top selection 7 horse Reagan's Wit. This 3-year-old called by Authentic. Sherry DeVoe trains. Jose Ortiz gets the mount. He ran the horse most recently on the 7th of April, Keeneland. Mile 16th in the Grade 3 Transylvania Stakes, where he finished fourth by 3 3/4 lengths that day. He sat back early from the inside. It was a little bit wide late, but he gained some ground. Not a bad race in the feet. But it's a little bit of a faster turf course here today, also a bit of a faster pace here today. I think he could find a trip to win coming to this race today. He ran two back in the my audio's cutting out. He ran two back. I hope it's playing now, but on your end. But he ran two back in the Columbia Stakes at Tampa, a mile on the 8th of March, and he finished second by a neck that day. And he basically stalked all around the race course. He just missed late. He was in a drive with Zulu Kingdom late, who just had the jump on him. Zulu Kingdom went on to win a Churchill a few weeks ago, quite impressively. This horse just missed behind a next start winner. Not a bad race in the feed. And then on 3-year-old debut at Fairgrounds, mile 16th and main special weight, winning by 8 lengths that day. Sat back early, was way out of it early, shall I say. And then he won by a lot, winning by 8 lengths that day. For where he closed up to, that was an impressive victor. And then on debut at Ellis last August, mile in the main special weight, finishing second by 2 lengths. Just kind of stalked that day. The winner had the jump on him, but got around the race course well. Training well at Keeneland, has placed behind some decent horses in the past who were all next start winners, especially Zulu Kingdom. I think at 5-2 coming to this spot, he's a very likely winner. I think the 5 horse End of Romance for Graham Motion and Johnny Velasquez can win also. He ran here in New York at Aqueduct about a month ago in the Woodhaven, a mile on the inner turf course. Finished fifth by a length that day. He was a little bit wide. He just needs something more late, but he got around the race course okay. His North America debut was in the Rushway prior to that at Turfway of the mile 16th, where he finished third by 3.5 lengths that day. Not the best of trips that day. Got bumped around a few times. He gained some ground, but again, he probably needed the race off the bench. His races in the UK last summer weren't bad at all. He had a very good victor at Pontefract over the 6 furlongs, where he completely missed a break. But after that, he really won on the front end going away. Came back to run at Chester after that over the 7, where he finished third by 3.5 lengths that day, where he just kind of got gamed late that day and also lost a shoe in the running. What can you do? But those were decent races. Coming here to fast ground at 9-2, drawn well. I'm going to give this horse a shot in third start stateside. But to recount my selection for the 11th now from Pimlico, it's a James W. Murphy. You're going to take the 7 horse Reagan's Wit. Give kudos to the 5 horse End of Romance. 7586 Super. 7-5 in the multi race. The featured turf event of the weekend from Pimlico, the 12th race, the final turf race ever run at, most likely run at Old Pimlico. The 12th race, it is the Dinner Party Stakes. It's a grade 3 event going for $250,000 purse race for 3-year-olds land upwards here. We have a field of 13 horses, a baker's dozen going to the turf course, the distance of ground of 1,800 meters, or a mile and 8 here in the Dinner Party. Going to go with the 9 horse Irish Aces as a top selection. 9-13-10-4 for me in the superfecta. 9-13-10-4 super. Top selection 9 horse Irish Aces. 5-year-old Gelman Mashawish here. Brendan Walsh trains. Umberto Rispoli gets to mount. They ran the horse most recently on the 8th of April at Keeneland, mile 16th in a allowance race for 137,000. He won it from the inside. He won by a half length. Got away with it on the front end, seeing some soft fractions to that 1/2 and 3/4. And Ben Curtis just rode the horse clearly to the victor. That was a very good run, getting Lasix that day and also blinkers. Coming here, probably won't get as easy as a front end trip, or won't get to the front. I think there's some faster horses here today than he is. I think he'll get a good tracking trip to find the turn of foot to win. His bars have been very consistent in his career, but he just has been getting first. That's his problem. Ran two back in the Canadian turf at Gulfstream, mile 16th, 1st of March, where he finished fourth by a half length. He sat back early in an all-out finish. He just missed late behind Fort Washington, who was running back in this one today. But, not a bad race with the 96 buyer. And then the Tampa Derby, or excuse me, Tampa Bay Stakes at Tampa, mile 16th, 1st of March, off the bench, finished third by 3/4 length again, really closing up well late. He just missed, but he ran his heart out with that 98 buyer. And then Alondres Keelan over the mile 16th, finishing second by 3/4 length again. He just missed, but he ran his heart out. He's making his Pimlico debut. He's versatile type. He seems he can set the pace like he did the last time out, or he could close from the clouds like he won on like he ran at Kentucky Downs, winning from the clouds on the Tappet Stakes, winning by head. That was a very good run. Coming here, training well. I like him a lot at 10 to 1. Let's use him. I think the 13 horse Shakari could win also for Grand Motion and Johnny V. Most recently ran the Maker's Mark mile at Keelan over the mile back in April, where he needed the race, finished third by 5 1/4 lengths. It was a wet course. Carlos Packler freaked that day. Interrogation freaked that day. This horse is third best behind some proper grade 1 turf horses in this side of the country. I think down in class here today to a mile and eighth. I think he's going to be in a better spot to win. Ended off the season at just a tired horse. I thought running him in the Byron Station at the end of the season last year was a wrong note. Finished six by 3 lengths. He was wide. He had traffic. He checked. A quick start back from Southern California. It just was a very tired horse that day. He ran prior to the City Hope Mile at Santino over the mile, where he finished fourth by 1.5 lengths. Johanna is probably the best turf horse in Southern California. Freak that day. This horse moved a little bit late, but just got beat by a better horse. And then won the Secretariat and won the Belmont Derby quite impressively at Aqueduct last evening over the mile 3/16. And midpoint of the season, great season. Won the Rushway, won the American Turf at 47 to 1, and then came back to run a decent third in the 10 mile and won the Belmont Derby quite nicely, and then won the Secretariat. So some decent races he was winning. I think coming here second off the bench, 4-year-old Campaign to a mile and eighth, 5-2. I know it's not the best price in the world, but I think he's a very likely winner. And even the 10 horse for Suge and Junior Alvarado, Fort Washington, won the Canadian Turf off the bench, or most recently, back in March quite nicely. Coming here off the bench shouldn't be a problem. His races in the here in on the East Coast last season weren't bad at all. I like the win in Monmouth last year. He had a very good place in the Fort Lauderdale. His only subpar race was the Pegasus World Cup, where he just had a very tough trip on that very narrow turf course. I think you can find a better trip on this turf course here today at 5 to 1. Let's give him a shot in the pick four. But to recount my selection for the 12th from Pimlico, it is the dinner party. Gonna go take the number 9 horse Irish Aces as top selection. Give kudos to the 13 horse Tricari and the 10 horse Fort Washington. 9-13, 10-4 Super, 9-13-10 in the pick four. Let's get to the featured 13th race now from Old Hilltop. Featured 13th race from Pimlico. It is the Preakness Stakes. It's a grade 1 event going for a purse of $2 million. Race for 3-year-olds here. We have a field of 9 horses going 1,900 meters, or the traditional Preakness distance of a mile 3/16 on the Pimlico main track. Going to take as a top selection here the 8 horse Clever again. We're going to go 8-6-2-1 in the superfecta. 8-6-2-1 super. Top selection, the 8 horse Clever again. Is a 3-year-old colt by American Pharaoh. Steve Asmussen trains Jose Ortiz gets the mount. They ran the horse most recently on the 30th of March at Oaklawn, a mile in the Hot Spring Stakes, and he won by 4 lengths, and he set some good fractions on the front end. He quickened up nicely off of those, and he took off clear. Back around 2 turns, 101 buyer, that was impressive. Coming here off a bit of a bench, mile 3/16 shouldn't be a problem. I think he could really run a good race to improve off that run. I know he's lightly raced, but his buyers have definitely been on the improve, and I think he's sitting on a very good run here today. 10 years ago, his sire, American Pharaoh, romped in this race. I think 10 years later, his son's going to do it here today. Also, 15 years ago, or was it Pioneer Nile running this race in 2009, something like that? I mean, he ran, or was it 2000? I can't even remember. But, I think this horse is sitting on a good run. He ran 2 back in the main special in late February at Oaklawn, a mile 16th in that main special weight, winning by 3.5 lengths that day. Get on the front end, had a bit of a 3/4 breather that day, but he really came, kept to the task, quickened up nicely. A very, very good run for it being his first start around 2 turns. Also, first start since late April of last year. They came over the Headley course at Keeneland, 4.5 in the main special weight, finishing second by a head behind Dreamway, who was the next start winner, decent horse early on in the season last year. This horse is just dueling with him early on over a trip he probably was not appreciative to, but he got around the race course well. Has definitely improved since then. Training well at Oaklawn. Coming here today, I think it's 5 to 1. He could be a very likely winner. I'm going to use him as a top selection. Don't throw out the 6 horse River Thames for Tom Fletcher and Ira Ortiz Jr. The story called by McLean's Music. Tom Fletcher does not run a lot of horses at Pimlico and the Preakness, so when he's sending one, you want to keep an eye on this one. Biggest question with him is, can he stay the trip? He yielded in the Fountain of Youth where he looked like a winner in the lane, but then he just kind of got caught at the wire by Sovereignty, who was your eventual Derby winner 2 weeks ago. Absolutely freaked. Came back to run after the Fountain of Youth in the Bluegrass at Keelan over the mile and eighth, where he finished third by 3/4 length, where he was gaining length. The pace was kind of melting down late because East Avenue just kind of yielded. But this horse, he got down the race course well. And then, he ran over the 1 turn mile at Goldstream in his sophomore effort on option 75, won by 6.5 lengths coming from a tracking trip. He came home clear. And then one going 3/4 in January quite nicely at Goldstream. He's been improving a lot. Biggest question will be, can he handle the mile 3/16? I think if Todd's going to run me here today, I think that makes me think he can get the trip. 9-2. I don't think he's going to be 9-2. I think you're going to, the Preakness betting. I think the horse get a little bit overbet in these races and at Pimlico at times. I think this horse is probably going to go off at, 3-1 somewhere around there. I think he's going to be your second choice actually. But watch out for this horse here today. I think he's loaded. And don't throw out the 2 horse journalism for Michael McCarthy and Roberto Rispoli. He ran a terrific race in the Kentucky Derby. Somebody just outgamed him late, but this horse, he sat back early, had that wide move. He was closing up well. Somebody just a little bit wider caught him, but bad race. He opened my eyes. I thought the Southern California horses are just a little bit in theory, sometimes I think Southern California horses in the last few years are a little bit, let's not just below the horses in the Midwest and on the East Coast, but this horse really opened my eyes. He came home clear. His Santa Anita Derby closing up from the back of the pack was quite impressive, and then his San Felipe was quite impressive also. I would like him to sit a little closer today. If he could sit a little closer, I think he can win. The Preakness Stakes is traditionally a race run on the one on the front end, not the deep closers usually winning this race. They could get piece of it in the superfectas and something like that. But if this horse could sit closer, like in the Los Alphaturity or in the San Felipe, I think he could win. There's going to be some pace up in front with him, so I think coming from third or fourth, I think that's where he's going to be, but not too far off the pace. He is training well since his last race. I'm going to give him a shot here today at 8-5. I know it's a crap price, but he's another horse. Watch out for him to run a good race here today. It's been like I said, watch out for him. We talked about my top three here. We're going to use those 3 horses in the pick four here. So let's get to the other horses and my thoughts on the Preakness Stakes. The 1 horse goal orientated. I know he's a very lightly raced horse. It wouldn't surprise me if he gets a trip to win here today. He'll probably be on the front end. We'll see how far his pace goes. He won impressively 2 weeks ago on the stop at Churchill and broke his main in early April at Santa Anita. He's going to have his biggest, challenge here today. If he's up to the task, he could win. He had a very good workout though last week at Churchill. It's 6-1. I would give him a shot here today, but I think he's another horse that's going to get very overbet. I have a feeling this horse is going to go off as your third choice, so watch out for him. American Promise of the 3 horse for Dwayne Lucas and Newt Juarez, ran the Derby a few weeks ago where he showed some pace early on, then just completely crumbled. I don't know if he liked the slop. His best running has been on the front end. Dwayne Lucas, great, trainer of sending horses. It wouldn't surprise me if they kind of do like Oxbow or something like they did last year, where they send the horse on the front end and just walk the dog and gets away with it. It wouldn't surprise me if this horse gets away with it. He is training well coming into this race. At 15-1, watch out for him. Heart of Honor, his races in the Middle East weren't bad at all. He's going to be stepping up a major class here today. He's bred for dirt through and through, and he's handled it well in the Middle East. But Middle East dirt is completely different than the dirt you're going to see here in the stateside. I just think they're going to have a hard task ahead of them. I'm not going to use this one. I think the 5 horse Pay Billy Tessio winner always gets a little bit overbet in the spot. He won the Tessio quite impressively from a very wide poster at Laurel going a mile and eighth, winning from 9-10 going 2 turns at Laurel and dirt. It's very hard to do, but he did it quite impressively. Grinding it out to the wire. His win the private term wasn't bad at all. He's done everything right against the Mid-Atlantic horses. Come here against the big boy, grade 1 quality horses. I just can't get behind him here. We talked about River Thames already. The 7 horse, Sad man, I thought he was very overbet in the Derby. Didn't do a lot of running. He won the Pace Meltdown Arkansas Derby. Coming here today, maybe a fourth place finish, but they also said into the Derby he wasn't 100% going into the Derby. Quick turnaround. Third or fourth, maybe. I'm just not going to use them in the pick four or any multi-race wagers. We talked about Clever again, and the 9 horse Gosinger here for Brendan Walsh and Luis Saez. Possible upsetter here. As a long shot play. I like his win in the Lexington. Came back a little bit of a slow race on the speed figure wise number, but he got around the race course well. The main victor at Goldstream wasn't half bad. You know, I would give him, I'm definitely going to use him in the exotic wagers. Maybe on the pick four, maybe a small win wager. 20-1, he's my long shot play in this race. But to recap my selections now for the 13 from Pimlico, it is the grade one, $2 million Preakness Stakes. And we're going to take as a top selection 8-horse Clever again. Give kudos to the 6-horse River Thames and the 2-horse Journalism. 8-6-2-1 Super. We're going to go 8-6-2 in the multi race here. As a long shot play, we'll use the 9-horse Gossinger here, but I think mainly it's a 3-horse race between Clever again, River Thames and Journalism. I'm looking forward to this Preakness Stakes. With that being said, good luck to all. Please follow me on X at Horse Racing Kit 5 for more selections for race courses around the world, and I'll see you in a bit of time. Good luck, everybody.